about virtualization. And you need a notepad notes, right? So then we'll go to where is the last. This is the last one. So here it is. No. Okay. So today, so we are going with the first is virtualization. Yeah, correct only. So because I type randomly without thinking, I will type correctly. Okay. So what is this virtualization, guys? Lot of people speak about cloud computing. Sir, I want to go to cloud. I want to go to virtualization. I want to go for a securities, ethical hacking kind of stuff. Important is base subject is very important. First of all, know a basic computer. Know a basic computer. It's like this. So any system like a PC means what? Or a computer means what? What are the computer components are there? Computer means what are the components are there? How computer is there? What is the use of computer? Right? So computer components are a CPU, the RAM is there, right? Memory, main memory, CPU, RAM, okay, and it contains a hard disk, right? It contains a motherboard. Of course, there is a power supply. So there is a power supply. Your BIOS or a UEFI. It meaning is ROM. Okay, BIOS chip is there, right? So this is a basic computer components. Of course, additional components like a keyboard, mouse, monitor kind of stuff. So keyboard, mouse, monitor, like these are the basic computer components. Basic computer components. First one. Second one. What is the use of a computer? So what is the use of your computer? Computer is used for what is the purpose of computer here? Minion, web browsing, you do web browsing, programs, applications, you run some application, gaming, you play games, and other multimedia like audio, video kind of stuff. Movies, right? Audio, video kind of stuff, playing games, web browsing. Okay. Next, development, programming, development, program development kind of stuff. So this is the use of a computer. That is the components of computer. This is the use of computer. What is the day of first day of the class should be taken like this. Sir is taking the almost like a special day for what is the computer part. Okay. Yeah, of course. Next. I am coming to this application. Next, to run an application, to run application applications or to work with a computer, to work with computer, what is the required to work with a computer or to run application? You can say uh, to to run applications or to interact with a computer hardware. What is the required? Is required. Guys, are you able to hear at least since morning? Since starting, no one is giving any response, or not making any sound. Are you able to see my screen? Is it anything? There is Sachin Narayana is present, but I am seeing 8 members here.
Present, sir.
Very good. What happened? I don't know. People put their mobile phone aside and left, I think. A laptop, they start in a meeting in laptop, they left. In that cases, guys, if you are not interested, no problem. We can disconnect it. I have a lot of work. Okay. Just to cover a very good topic, because you may not get a few things about a basic virtualization in any resource, very less resources. Only I have a resource, very virtualization related, very less. Cloud related, so many are there. Cloud related, so many resources are there. Okay, that's the point. Okay, I will wait another 5-10 minutes. I don't mind about people are joining or not. I'm minding about some people who are there. Be response, be in the interactive mode. Rating. See, that's mind confusion part. See, there is OS. Why I am typing this operating system? So why? So enter my component is last. Okay. Operating system. What is this operating system? Operating system to work with your computer means like a web browsing or running an application or playing games, to run a audio video kind of stuff. Okay, to play audio and video, okay, kind of stuff, programming development related one, or okay, to our basic interaction with your hardware. Also we need a operating system. So these are the main things we are discuss. One more is there. Networking is also there now. So what is this networking? Also will come back. We'll see. Communicate between two or more devices. Like I have a computer. More devices means computers. So we are all in a computer mode only, not in any other mode, right? So I have a 10 computers are there. Want to communicate between these computers. What we required is a network. To what is a network? Connection of two or more devices. Guys, it is like repetition also. Connection of two or more devices. What is network? Connection of two or more devices. What is networking? Communication between two or more devices. Connected devices means interconnected devices. What is a network? Interconnection of two or more devices. What is a networking? Communication between interconnected devices. Okay. What is internetwork? Internetwork is connection of two or more networks. Internetwork means connection of two or more networks or different networks. Internetworking is a communication between different networks. Communication between different networks, right? So another point I told, internet and intranet. Intranet and intranet. Okay. So this is also points we discussed, that is internet and intranet. Intranet means local network, LAN kind of stuff. Okay. Internet is a WAN network, is like a public network. So I'm communicating from my laptop to Google server. It's a intranet. Sorry, internet. From me to google.com, internet. Through internet only I can able to communicate. I'm communicating from my lab to my local server, my laptop to my mobile phone. So this is a intranet within the local network, within the private network. Private public networks also check it. This is about a network. So of course, network is a one very important kind of stuff. Okay. Yes. Here it is about the users. Every user, computer user. Here is a user is there. User is, okay. User. Every user having a profile data which is stored in the computer. Okay. Computer users personal data means user profile data, meaning is user profile data, which is nothing but desktop data, my documents. Nowadays we are not using my kind of stuff. Okay, my documents, your pictures, videos, music. Okay, uh, favorites, linked, otherwise saved games. This is the user profile data. Okay, every user the profile data is separate from other users profile data. One user profile data cannot be accessed by other users. Remember that one. Okay, so this is a basically stores in the local computer. So example, C:/users slash username. Okay, your username is there now. For example, user1. So that is the location of users profile data. Okay, one more is there, like you know, yeah, that's enough. That is enough. So one more is there, actually remote desktop concept is there. So I don't know how to. I can relate it. I know how to relate it. This is the first time I'm trying to explain virtualization like this. Okay, there is a concept of remote desktop is there. So what is this remote desktop? Also, I will explain, guys. That is a better way to explain once it is. This is also very good one. Someone putting a message. Okay, Bhavani came. Very good.
Yes, sir.
Baba, Akhila, Pavan, Amarnath Reddy, Manikanta, Subhani, and Venu Madhav, Bhanu Veera Sivakumar. So main important, these people are regular, right? Venu Madhav, Bhanu Veera Sivakumar. Okay, and Baba also mostly regular. Amannath Reddy is recently not attending. Pavan. So totally 9 members are good. Okay, what is this remote desktop? Okay, I have to use paintbrush here. Guys, I will forward this PPT to you also. There is a lot of things are there. If you don't understand also, it's not a big deal. Okay, it contains so many things, including this presentation virtualization, which is remote desktop related virtualization. So I will explain a remote desktop also here. Why I am telling this much story? Because of, so what is the importance of this virtualization? What are the different type of virtualizations? So to explain that one, I'm explaining this entire thing. Okay, and I didn't explain what is a what remote desktop in a networking related services. Okay, here it is. Guys, think like this. So if you are possible, if you possible, go to my any batch videos for a presentation virtualization. Search in my channel only presentation virtualization. In that one, I explained about a remote desktop related information part. Okay. Okay. Here it is, guys. Look at this is a big machine, not a server. Maybe it is a server, or maybe it is a big machine. It contains an application. For example, like this is a contain very big application, means the application, to run that application it required a more RAM capacity. For example, it is having a 32 GB RAM. Very good, right? 32 GB. Normal our laptops having 4 GB, 8 GB. This is 32 GB RAM. It is a 8 core processor. Earlier days also it is not much good in infrastructure, but 8 core processor comparatively, means compared to other machines, this machine is big configuration. Now we are comparing nowadays configuration. So it is 8 core CPU, 32 GB RAM. So something like it is having a some direct disk space for a to store a data is like a 2 terabyte or a 4 terabyte. You can take it higher, you can take it. So just for fun, I will take 4 terabytes of storage. This is my PC capacity. This Butler PC capacity. I put a name is PC S1. I am running an applications like a application 1, application 2, application 3, like this. These are a very big applications I'm running. Each having a some licenses. Yeah. Before this one, I have to tell one point. It's okay, no problem. So this is my PC, like a C1, C2, C3, C4, like this. What I have done in this particular PC, I can't install this application. For example, C1 is a computer. I can't able to install application 1 in this one. What I have to do, I can't able to install, because if I want to run, I need a good infrastructure. What happened? I have one CPU, okay, 2 GB RAM, very less RAM, normal computer it is, 2 GB RAM or 4 GB RAM. So to run this application, I need a more than 4 GB RAM, okay, or maybe more, at least 4 GB RAM is required, but I don't have it. Okay, so infrastructure wise, no support. Next, operating system. Operating system, I cannot purchase again new license operating system. I'm using some free desktop tool kind of stuff. Okay. So point is, what I'm doing is using a remote desktop. Using a remote desktop, I connected to this machine. I connected to this machine. So which machine? What I'm from C1. From C1, I'm looking at a PCS1. From C1, I'm not going to PCS1. I'm going to connect PCS1 through remote desktop, RDP. Remote desktop protocol. Remote desktop is a concept here. What is the port number for remote desktop protocol? Is RDP protocol is 3389. Guys, protocols, port numbers, protocol abbreviations also important. RDP, remote desktop protocol. HTTP, hypertext transmission protocol. HTTPS, hypertext transmission protocol over SSL. Over SSL, secure socket layer. Okay, SSH, secure shell, telnet, telephone network, something is there, telnet. Okay, FTP, file transfer protocol, 2021 port number. TFTP, trivial file transfer protocol, port number is 69. DHCP, dynamic host configuration protocol, which provide a IP address to client, or which configure IP addresses to client, which configures IP address to the client. DHCP 6768. DNS 53, dynamic, not a dynamic, domain name system 53 port number. Okay, which maps name to IP address. So you want IP address of a particular certain of a particular domain or a particular host in a domain, particular host in a domain. You want IP address of a particular host in a domain. So DNS server will give you the IP address of a host in a particular domain. You'll get it. So you will get IP address of that host. You don't want, you want a IP address of a host for in a particular domain, like a www.google.com. Okay, www1google.com, docs.google.com, so docs.microsoft.com, technet.microsoft.com, mail.google.com, office.com, anything like so many things, hosts are there, right, in the particular one single domain. So you want an IP address of it, so DNS server will give you. Port number is 53. SMPS, simple mail transfer protocol, port number 25. POP3, post office protocol, port number 110. IMAP, abbreviation I didn't remember. I think instant mail access protocol or internet mail access protocol, something is there. Please verify. Port number is 143. Okay, NTP, network time protocol. Port number is 123. Okay, simple network management protocol, SNMP. Port number is 161, 162. So you just whatever it is, guys, in front of me there is nothing is there. Why I suddenly started that one? So when you are reading something, you got something in your mind. So completely go through once. Try to recollect it. Recollection is the best method to remember anything for a very, very long period of time. It's not like our examination, final day exam. Tomorrow is an examination. Today night we will open, we write an exam and forget again to clean up it. Again you have to reload the new one. It's not like that. These are all, you have to do journey with it. As long as you are an IT company, you are working in IT, whether it is whatever the position it is, whether it is a lower or a very higher position. You are in a working in IT company, whatever your profile it is, these are all very important. Okay, so that's why this is compulsory, revise things like that. So here it is. I use RDP, remote desktop protocol, RDP connection. Look at here, I am going to open some RDP thing. So Microsoft terminal server connection, MSTSC. If It is remote desktop connection. You have to give the server IP address or a name. If in case DNS environment is there, you can give server IP address or server name. Okay, so username. Okay, so then click on connect, or you can save the settings or click on connect. It will ask for a password. Give the password, and it is give a authentication certificate, means encryption related certificate. Click yes. So data encryption wise, you are able to access the virtual machine. So this is how to connect a remote desktop. So what I use from Microsoft MS Microsoft TSC. The service name is Terminal Server Connection, TSC. Microsoft Terminal Server Connection. So what happened when I from C1 when I connected to PCS1 through remote desktop connection? So I can able to access app 1, app 2, app 3 like that. Okay. So what happened when I connect a remote server? I can able to see this entire PC applications, settings, user information from my desktop. Okay guys, that is a remote desktop protocol. But there is a condition is there because it's a Microsoft. Linux and Windows is different guys. So if possible go through what is the difference between Linux and Windows. So once you are go, you can ask me tomorrow, means next class like a Monday. So I will explain what is the difference between Linux and Windows. If you don't go, I don't go. Okay, so that's the thing. So here it is. In Microsoft Windows, point is one PC means you have one computer, one user. That's it. Because when I told about about operating system types are simple operating system, network operating system, simple operating system, regular desktop operating systems, Windows systems like that. Network operating system, Windows servers, Linux servers, Unix servers, network operating system. Next one I told simple, single user, single task, single user, single task. Example DOS. Single user, multitask, single user, multitask. Example Windows machines. Any Windows, both Windows Server, Windows Client. Okay, so both Windows Desktop, Windows Servers. Multi-user, multitask, Linux and Unix, right? Okay, same concept is here. Single user, single task, single user, multitask. Here it is. You have a PC. Either you log into your PC directly, like you went to the PC and you log in. So only one user is login, and with one user account only it will work. Once you are log out, then other user came, login with his username. For example, user 1, user 2 are there. User 1 login, used, log out. User 2 login, used, log out. So user 3 came, for example, single PC, 3 users. Now user 3 came, used, logged out. So what happened? Any of one single user can able to use your computer, not all the people at a time. So user 1, user 2, user 3, at a time they cannot able to access the same PC at a time. Okay, at a time with the same accounts, user 1 account and as well as user 2 account and as well as user 3 account. All three accounts cannot able to log into same PC. So that is called a single user multitask operating system is Windows operating system. This is the point here it is. Only one user can able to log into system at a time, means only one user one login, that's it. User one completed his work, log out. User two login, that is possible. User one is login. Meanwhile, user two came, I want to log in. So user two directly log in without log out of user one. Not possible. In Linux, it is possible. So multiple users we can able to log in. Okay. So this is the condition. Either you log in directly or indirectly. Indirectly means through network. Direct or indirect. Directly you can able to log into your machine, or indirectly you are log into your machine. So indirectly you can log into your machine, but only one single user. For example, this PC username. This PC username is, for example, Power or admin. Admin is better name. Admin one. Something like admin one. So here we have to log in with the admin one. Only one user, right? So right, admin one. So here I log into from C1 is admin one. So what will happen? Here it is log out because of it is login here. That is remote desktop concept. The problem is, if in case multiple systems want to log into same desktop through network, if in case multiple systems want to log into same desktop with different type of users, like user 1, user 2, user 3, like that. So what I have created, I will create a, first of all, I create a user list. I will create like this, remote desktop user, like a RD user 1, RD user 1, RD user 2, RD user 3, so RD user 4, I think it is enough, or RD user 5, something like 5 users are added to this computer, even though we can't log in, because either direct PC or indirect through network, or a direct PC means direct physical PC access, or through network access. Only one user can able to log in. Only one user can able to log in. And once a user is logging to a PC, other PCs cannot able to log in with the same or a different username. Like I cannot log in with admin, I can't log in with the AD RD user one also. Okay, so what I have to do? I have to go to Microsoft, because it's a Microsoft problem, right? I have to go to Microsoft. I purchase licenses, per user license, not per system license, per user license I have to purchase. Per user license I have to purchase. Now what happened here? I purchase a 5 licenses. Now 5 users, 5 licenses. This is a license related problem. That's it, we cannot able to log in. So 5 users, 5 licenses. In this one, I log in with the RD user 1. In this one, I log in with the RD user 2. This is RD user 3, RD user 4. Like this. One more is left, so maybe we'll use it later. Okay. So each device we can able to log into remote desktop user accounts, because I purchase licenses from the Microsoft per user licenses. So all my 4 PCs can able to access the central machine. machine's applications also we can able to access. The point is, I don't want machine, I want a machine applications. The user profile data also stored in centrally. User profile data also stored in central PC. These users data also stored in this PC. Application runs in the central PC. Application runs in the central PC. Okay. Users profile data stored in central PC. Okay. Only we are accessing users and their applications from different desktops, from different client computers. Okay. So this is all a basic point of remote desktop with a single user, remote desktop with a multiple users part. Okay guys, why I told about remote desktop story here? Because it is a virtualization. It is a presentation virtualization. So accessing remote computer from client PC PHRU through network. Just I'm giving a word for just for remembering that one. Okay, so I'm accessing remote computer from a client computer or from a PC through network. Okay, you can access remote applications, store users personal data, means user profile data in remote PC. So these are the few more points are there, guys. It is also a reason to motivate us to use virtualization. There's a different ways of using a virtualization is there. So that's why I told like this. So here it is. A computer components are there, different type of computer components. So every time you cannot able to offer to buy all these kind of components, right? Every time you cannot able to buy a new computer because of each computer is a cost is more. First is each computer is cost is more. For example, I want to buy a laptop. I have to put a 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, right? The cost is cost only. Every time we can't able to offer a computer to do some task like a web browsing or application or some application running. We cannot able to purchase a big hardware. So what do we choose? We choose a remote desktop. So better we build a one big computer and we run everything in that computer. We are accessing through network, but it is not giving a one not complete solution for our problem. Okay, because it's a single computer. Okay, so there is a lot of things are there. So here it is, computer components. 1 second. So we cannot purchase a computers, data centers, servers every time we require because it's the cost is more and space occupation and power supply related issues. So 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So I will give you a break, but not now. Okay, so here it is a computer components, right? So for every reason we cannot purchase a computer. It's like a servers because of cost. One is cost related. Second one is space occupation. Third one is power supply management, right? So accessing remotely, okay, licensing, licensing. These are issues here we are real time facing. Next, while you are using, what is the use of this computer? Either it is you want to run a server, okay. So one is server services purpose. Either you use it for a server services or a regular desktop related like a web browsing applications, okay, video, audio, gaming kind of stuff. So important is you have to utilize a computer for a certain purpose, for a server purpose or a desktop purpose or anything. Okay, so that is a computer purpose. To run that one, to utilize your computer, we need a operating system. Okay, we need an operating system. To communicate with the machine, we need a network. To need a network, and we have to store their profile data into the particular location. Okay, so why I am telling all these stories, I will tell guys. For you are really go and purchase a physical server for every time you require. For every time you require, you got a new project. I need a 4 servers are required. Okay, so I go and purchase a 4 servers. So cost, it is a mainly cost effective. Again, price, space, configuration, management, power supply. Okay, remote access kind of stuff, networking configurations, protocols, port numbers, securities. These are all become a little big headache to the organization. So what I have done, I virtualize everything. What I will put it, I can't able to clean it. Okay, otherwise I will open another paintbrush. Painting is better. It is very easy to paint. Okay, what I have done, I will take a big server. So in this server also contains a hardware but little powerful than a normal regular server. Okay, so it is also having a CPU, RAM, hard disk, networking portion like a regular hardware. In this one, I'll install hypervisor. Install hypervisor. Example, Hyper-V. For example, Microsoft Hyper-V or VMware is there, or so many other services also there. So better not to mention what it is. So I install a hypervisors. Hypervisors, different hypervisors are there, guys. Okay. So what is a hypervisor? It is a virtualization platform. Just like how you install operating system, we install hypervisor like that only. We install hypervisor like that only. What is the advantage of hypervisor? We can create a virtual machines in the single physical machine. Okay, we can create a virtual machines in a single physical machine. In single physical machine, you can create a multiple virtual machines. It means each machine, a computer means what? It contains resources like a CPU, RAM, hard disk, storage, right? NIC part. Next, in a computer, we install the operating system as per our requirement. We install operating system as per our requirement. Okay, so and we run an applications. What are the application we required? Either it is the same type of applications or different type of applications. We'll choose what application we want to install it on these machines. Okay. Of course, using a remote access or a direct access, different type of tools are there, so we can access the virtual machine. So in single machine, in a single space, because of this virtualization concept, we can create a multiple virtual machines. We can create a multiple virtual machines. So then we can install different type of operating system or same type of operating system. We can install application either different or same applications, or we can make a virtual machine as a server, or we can make a virtual machine as a regular desktop also. Okay, so what is the advantage of it, guys? You don't need to buy, a physical servers again. Space is same, so no need of getting a more space again. Additional space requirement is not there. Power supply consumption, power supply connection is same only. One computer, one power supply. It's a single computer, single power supply. So instead of installing traditional operating system, I put a hypervisor here. Instead of installing traditional operating systems, I install hypervisor so I can run multiple machines. Okay. Next. So how these virtual machines runs? This is the physical hardware. Because of this hypervisor, the physical hardware virtualized and supported directly to these virtual machines. Why I'm putting like this? Because the hypervisor platform virtualize our hardware. It is basically virtualize our hardware. So then these virtual machines will get a virtual hardware. Meaning is they utilize our physical hardware. They utilize physical hardware, but they 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 convert the they, they utilize physical hardware, but they have their own hardware, right? So they have their hardware like this. So virtual CPU, okay, and it utilize your RAM, physical RAM space. So virtually it will occupy your physical RAM space. It will utilize your disk space, physical disk space, and of course there is a virtual network connectivity is also there. Okay, so a computer means it is a requirement of resources, right? It is required a CPU, it required a RAM, it required a ROM, means BIOS or UEFI, it required a network card, it is required to store a data, so it is required a hard disk. Physical machine having a physical resources, virtual machine having a virtualized resources. To virtualize this physical resources, we need a hypervisor. So hypervisor is a virtualization platform. So here it is from Microsoft. It's a company called a Hyper-V. From Microsoft, Hyper-V. You know VMware. VMware workstation. Sorry, vSphere or ESXi. Okay. You know Citrix. Citrix is also a big organization. Then server. Proxmox. Proxmox VA is a free open source virtualization platform. For everything we have to pay them amount. It's a open source virtualization platform from Red Hat or Oracle, you can say, but Red Hat is the main part. Okay, Red Hat RHEV, Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization. This is the base point of virtualization, and this type of virtualization we call it as a server virtualization. This part of virtualization we call it as a server virtualization. That too we call it as a type 1 virtualization. But I didn't give any definition of virtualization, guys. I explained server virtualization directly. One is important is why need a virtualization? Basically, physical resources, operating system licenses, power consumptions, physical space utilization, best utilization of given resources, best utilization of resources. We need a virtualization. Okay. We'll write why we need a virtualization. Best utilization of resources. Resources means CPU, RAM, hard disk kind of stuff. A normal single server cannot, we don't utilize 100% or 80%, 70% also, we don't use it. We what, okay, so it's a waste of money and also now it is we can utilize resources. Cost reduction, because we're not going to buy more computers, right? So no need to buy more servers. More servers are not required. Um, one more is there. What is that one? Yeah. So for consumption, less power consumption, or utilizing the power consumption. Power consumption will be reduced. Space occup. What is occupation? What is your occupation? Mind is not working again. Power consumption is less power consumption, or not to reduce the power consumption. Okay, less space occupation because single server, no separate part. So these are the main. Also there, cost reduction, no need to buy new one. Okay, cost reduction means no need to buy new one again. So best utilization of servers or servers resources, servers or resources part. Okay, so this is the main importance of why we are using virtualization part. But thing is, what is virtualization? What is a virtualization? That is important, right? So here it is. What is a virtualization? So you look at here. We create a software-based or virtual representation of applications, server, storage, network to reduce IT expenses while boosting efficiency and agility. That's the point. What is virtualization, guys? We are simply creating software-based. Already I told you have a physical hardware because of physical machine. I have a laptop having CPU, RAM, hard disk, motherboard, all these things, right? So network connection and all these are physical hardwares, right? For virtual machines, we have a virtual hardware. Okay, why virtualization? So multiple times you can able to deploy, access, and some of course like a full-fledged, like you can utilize the resources better way. Not required to deploy for every time, like every physical deployment is not required. Okay, so in a virtual representation of something, like you represent a computer in the form of virtual machine, right? Machine means computer. Virtual machine means also a computer. but not in a physical form. Not in the physical form. It is a software representation. Okay, software representation. SDN, software defined network. That's a very good concept. If you are going to networking, okay, deep networking part, SDN, software defined network. Very good concept nowadays. Okay, software representation of an application means application virtualization. Software representation of a server, software representation of a storage means virtual hard disk. Software representation of storage, virtual hard disk. Software representation of network, software representation of network means physical network having a NICs, switches, routers, these are all there. But software representation of network means virtual switches, virtual routers, virtual switches, virtual routers. Already I told software defined networks. Storage is virtual hard disk. Okay. So what is a virtualization? It is a software representation or a software base or virtual representation of an application or a server, or it can be a storage, it can be a network. So then if you are using like that, it will reduce the IT expenses and as well as it improves efficiency and agilities. For example, guys, I got a new project. So one second, just read that one more point, I will add it. So this one. Okay. Increase agility, flexibility, scalability while creating flexibility, scalability. So creating efficient cost saving, greater workload mobility, increased performance, ability to reduce automated operations. They're all benefit of virtualization that make IT simpler to manage, less costly to own operate. So this is a few points I added. So this is the simple way to tell advantage of benefits of virtualization. Finally, type of virtualization. I will tell type of virtualization. One or two examples I will try to explain to you. Type of virtualization. Okay, so yeah, so go through once the list of type of virtualization. Just a minute, I will be back. I mean, just 1 minute on. Just read it. Okay, yeah. So type of virtualization: server virtualization, network virtualization, desktop virtualization, application virtualization, storage virtualization, user state virtualization, presentation virtualization. You know, the presentation virtualization, which is I explained in the form of remote desktop, in the form of Remote desktop. The remote desktop service is a basically concept of presentation virtualization. Not just a remote desktop, it is. I explained about remote desktop server or a service related. Okay, so there is a specific remote desktop server is there. It will tell you, it will allow user to access the desktops, remote desktop. So that's the remote desktop gateway is there. Okay, so this a whole concept is there. So in a remote desktop concept, remote apps concept is also there. Exactly say remote desktop concept, remote apps concept. Want to see it is there. We don't see never we don't mind about things. That's why we don't know. Maybe it is there or not. We have to check it because it is different. Home editions, right? So find out. Yeah, remote app and remote desktop connection. So it's open like that, not direct one. So access remote app and remote desktop. See it is asking email address or a connection. So you have to give the server address like this. So it will connect and verifies and connects. It first of all it connect and then verifies and it will give you an environment. What is that environment? You will get it, guys. The point of remote desktop is to access the application. So what is the remote apps? Remote direct app I can able to get. I want a app 3. I'll access app 3 directly. Here for a user 4, only app 1 and app 2 can able to access. Only he can able to access app 1 and app 2. For user 3, app 3 only. For user 2, app 4 only. App 4 only. Or app 1 and app 4 only. For user 1, all applications. App 1, app 2, app 3, app 4. So this is a remote apps concept. Remote desktop, accessing the remote machines desktop environment. So then we can utilize the applications. We can use their applications, which is running at remote server. These are all applications running at remote server only, not in our PCs. So whatever your PC configuration is, we don't mind. It will run in a remote machine only. Okay, either you access complete desktop using remote desktop, and also you can use remote apps connection to access only app, not complete desktop environment. Okay, this is remote desktop and remote app. But point is this is also called as presentation virtualization. Okay, presentation virtualization. That's why I told remote desktop concept it is, and also virtualization concept. So why need this virtualization part? Okay, so I will explain also. I will relate this remote desktop to virtualization again. So we'll see that one. User state virtualization. User state virtualization meaning is you are logging with a remote user and you are working with a remote user, right? You are logging with a remote user and you are working with a remote user. Each user, either it is a local user or remote user, they have a profile data. Every user having their own profile data. So their profile data is stored into the storage location, managing this profile data, virtualizing this profile data. So user can log into any place. The profile data can be able to accessible. So to manage, so we are virtualizing this user state. Meaning is migrating user profile data from one place to another place, or keep track of user profile data in locations, connecting user profile data in the particular location. That is the thing. That is user state. Storage virtualization. So again, what is this storage virtualization? You have a physical hard disk. You can create a virtual hard disk in the physical hard disk. So I will try to show you that one. Last time I showed, this is a virtual hard disk. Okay, it's just look like a file only. It is look like a folder or a file only, right? It is also showing a hard disk image file and some size. You know, if I mount this one, so I right click and try to mount it. So mount. Okay, I'm mounting this file. So can you see this is the data it is showing? See, here it is. So there is a data. It is not there earlier. So I'm going to eject it. This I drive, I'm going to eject it. So just like a pen drive. This is I drive, right? So this is I drive, data is there. Right click. My system problem. Yeah. Now it is showing unavailable. It is showing unavailable. Why unavailable? Because I ejected it. Yeah, it is gone now. So it's system problem only. So it's, yeah, it is finally gone from this list also. So original, this is the direct physical hard disk. This is my physical hard disk partitions, which contains data stored in physical machine, physical storage space only directly. This is the virtual hard disk, which is the part of, which is occupies space in my physical hard disk. So look at here, this is the hard disk, physical hard disk. This is virtual hard disk. Okay, virtual hard disk occupies space in physical space. Okay, physical space only. If you store data in the virtual hard disk, where data is stored? Data stored in physical hard disk only. You store a data inside your virtual hard disk. Originally data is stored in virtual hard disk only, but inside this particular file only. Inside this particular file only. This is the one part of storage virtualization. Of course, there is a lot of storage virtualization concepts are there, but I'm telling in a simple way is virtual hard disk is a one example for a storage virtualization. Physical storage, direct physical storages are different, and virtually you are storing a data into your virtual storage spaces, but reality without a physical infrastructure, there is no virtualization concept. Without a physical infrastructure, for example, you want to run a virtual machines, you need a physical machine. You want a virtual storage, you need a physical storage. Understand? So this is another storage virtualization part. Application virtualization. Again, what guys, I'm directly one by one point wise I'm explaining. Okay, so if you got it, it's good. If you don't get it, it's okay, it's not a big deal. Okay, but try to listen carefully. Application virtualization is a basic concept is like this only. Application virtualization is came from presentation virtualization. What is the concept? User required to access application. User required to access application for his requirement. Okay, problem is his infrastructure is not supportive. So what he will do? He access remote apps. So final point is remote applications. Using this remote apps presentation virtualization concept, we can achieve somewhat, but it will create lot of burden on a centralized server because multiple users increases, multiple applications are accessed by multiple users, more burden on a central server. To reduce this burden, it's a load sharing concept is created. So that is meaning is using certain applications like concepts like AppV or Xen app. Okay, Xen app or a Xen desktop and application virtualization concept. Okay, Xen app, V Horizon. So these are all for a application virtualization related tools. Using these tools, we virtualize the application. So users can able to access the virtualized applications, which also runs at a client space also. Application runs at a client side. It is not located in a client side. He is accessing an application. It runs at a client side also. So you have a normal regular laptop is there. So you can also share the load. So obviously there is a less load on the centralized server. More number of users can able to access. So these are the main services for applications we use for a application virtualization purpose. AppV is a Microsoft product. Application virtualization. App is a Microsoft product. Xen app from Citrix. V Horizon from the vSphere. Okay. So here it is. This point. So desktop virtualization, network virtualization. So actually we have to cut. We have to paste here. Network virtualization and desktop virtualization. Finally, server virtualization. So don't worry, guys. Why I'm explaining from bottom to top? Because topmost is very highlighted feature. Okay. So anybody can able, like if you have a time or you want to learn, example you can able to put some money. If physically you can able to go to classrooms, any classrooms like Zoom technologies. I don't know currently Zoom is providing physical classroom training or not. So if in case if it is providing, you can learn server virtualization also better. You know the virtualization is a very powerful concept, right? So which is the one single point difference is there between a cloud and on-premises data centers to cloud. So virtualization is a very important concept. Public cloud is different. Private cloud is different. So you want to go for a cloud, private cloud range, real work, not just some website working kind of stuff. You want to do a real kind of virtualization, server virtualization, network virtualization concepts. So exactly see these three virtualizations are very important. So we can easily learn server virtualization and network virtualization concept. What is this network virtualization? What is this network virtualization? For example, guys, I am taking a very big server. Okay, very big server. Here it is. Different virtual machines are there. I have taken two virtual machines in my laptop, for example, or maybe in my Hyper-V environment. So this is the virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2. Okay, I have a switch like this. I connected these virtual machines like this. I don't have any physical environments. I have main PC is a physical PC. We have a CPU, right? We have a physical CPU. We have a physical RAM. We have a physical hard disk. Okay, physical NIC is also there. Not only one NIC, multiple NICs also you can connect it. But these two virtual machines want to communicate each other. Okay, only. So I have to connect these virtual machines to a virtual switch. Through a virtual switch. This type is host only or a private switch. In Hyper-V, means in a Microsoft terminology, it is a kind of private switch. It is a private switch. So no involvement of your physical machine. No involvement of your physical machine. It's just a private switch. It's not interact with your physical resources. It's just a virtual switch on. It make a communication between devices. Device means virtual machines. Virtual to virtual communication. Next, I have two another virtual machines are there, for example. So usually it's a big lecture, guys. It will take almost like a 3 basic classes, 3 to 4 off day classes, or a 4-day classes, or a 2-day full day classes. So basic explanation also will take 2 days, minimum 2 to 3 days it will take. But I am not going to take that. So this is also a kind of private, but here it is a virtual machine to virtual machine to physical machine communication, but not internet communication. No physical NIC communication. No physical NIC communication. Only virtual NIC. The virtual machine having a virtual NICs. Okay, they are connected each other through a internal type of switch. The switch is internal switch as per a Hyper-V. Different technologies, different word, guys. This is also a virtual switch. These NICs are connected to this virtual switch. So they will communicate each other. Also, they will communicate it with your computer. Okay, next. I have a virtual machine. Yeah, one is enough here. I have virtual machine number 5. Here I have a virtual switch. I have a virtual machine 5 to virtual switches I connected, which is bridged to my physical NIC, which is bridged to my physical NIC. You know, this is called a external switch. This is called a external switch. You know, in a VMware wise, VMnet 0. Okay, bridged. Anything is like a bridged concept. Okay, so what is this virtual switch doing? Is a bridge to your physical NIC. The physical NIC is, for example, is connected to internet. So your virtual machine also will get a internet. Okay, virtual machine also getting internet means physical network access is possible through external switches or bridged switches or bridged networks. So the whole concept is network virtualization. One part. So in network virtualization, there is a 2-3 parts are there again. Okay. So like a physical NIC is binding, like a NIC teaming is also comes under network virtualization. Okay. Port mapping kind of stuff. Virtual switch concept. Okay. So there is a lot of virtual concepts are there, but here it is simply an example is the two machines want to communicate, so they have to connect through NIC, and there is a intermediate device is required, is like a hub or a switch or a router, right? Hub or a switch or a router. Here I am using a switch to connect two or more virtual machines to make a communication. I'm using a switch, but physically no switch there. Okay, I have a laptop. I have a lot of virtual machines. The virtual machine want to communicate each other. So I have to buy a one switch and I have to insert into my laptop. I can't do it, right? So there is a program which acts like a switch function. So something is a program, right? Program or application. So it is a virtual switch. What is this virtual switch? So we can able to connect virtual machines to the virtual search, so they will communicate each other. So virtually, we are making a communication between virtual machines, virtual machine to physical machine, virtual machine to physical network. So this is the network virtualization. Network virtualization. So what are the things are left? Desktop virtualization, server virtualization. Guys, I told this is server virtualization. Only desktop virtualization is remaining. So we don't have a space to draw that diagrams. But in my PPT, everything is there. Okay, this is the next part I am going to tell after giving a break. Direct cloud. Okay, cloud part 1. Cloud part 2 is about advantage of cloud over the physical servers. Okay, like on premises to cloud differences. I put it next part. But first part is what is cloud, cloud different types, cloud different services we will discuss. So what is a server virtualization, guys? So we have a server which is installed with a Hyper-V or vSphere, or Xen server, or Proximox VE, or RSGV. So we install a hypervisor. So using the hypervisor, we create a virtual machines. In my videos there is an explanation of vSphere. vSphere explanation is there. Hyper-V explanation is also there. Like how to create a virtual machine and a Hyper-V, like that is there. Complete environment, demo environment is there. vSphere environment I showed in some classes. Okay, means in a virtualization part, not in a service desk playlist, guys. Okay, so compulsory go. So we create a virtual machines in the server. But how to access this virtual machine, guys? Using a different tools. So in my PPT also, that is I mentioned separately. These are the hypervisor platforms. So this is a type 1 virtualization. It is also called as bare metal virtualization. On top of your hardware, direct hypervisor is there. No separate operating system like Windows Server operating system or Linux Server operating system, like traditional operating systems are not there. Direct hypervisor is installed on top of hardware. We can create a virtual machines, and we can install operating system. We install applications on the operating system. We can able to access. Next, this side type 2 virtualization. This side is a type 2 virtualization. We'll take some color. This is a type 2 virtualization, guys. You have a hardware and you have a operating system like Windows operating system, Windows 10, Windows 8, or a Windows 7, or maybe a Linux operating system, Saint OS, Red Hat, okay, Mac operating system. So what it is? We have a traditional operating system, just like I have a Windows 10. In that one, I install an application that is a hypervisor application. Example, VMware Workstation. Yesterday, I showed a practical Windows 10 practical that is in my virtual machine only. Why in my virtual machine? If I do anything wrong, it damages my PC, right? So it is going to damage my PC. So it is, I can do anything in this virtual machine. Next, for example, this is a Linux based machine. So this is a Linux based machine. For practical purpose in Linux, I have to add a multiple hard disk. For teaching hard disk partitioning, LVM, logical volume manager part. So I have to add a multiple hard disk. I cannot get a physical hard disk. I cannot get a physical hard disk to connect and show the practical, right? So what I have done, I create a virtual machine, I install a OS, I add a virtual hard disk to it, so then I can show them practical. This network adapter is also virtual. This CD DVD is also a virtual CD-ROM. Okay, images like this. Okay, so point is Guys, what is the point of this virtualization? I am able to, if you want to, I will show you this one more point. Here it is. So here it is my Windows server, and here it is my Windows client. This is my Windows server, Windows client. So server client practical is there like a DHCP, DNS, print server, add to directory, domain creation, right? So I need a practical for on a server and as well as a client. Means I do in a server, I will check in a client. I create a group policy in a server. I will apply on the client. I will check in the client. Two machines I want to run, and I have to show the practical to the students. Think about it. If I want to two servers, two machines, so I have to buy two machines, right? Each machine is around a 30 to 35, 40,000 rupees cost is there. At least if you take i3, so by 30, 35, least to least you price 30, 35, you have to put it. Again, power supplies, monitor connections, everything. Two machines required. So more than 60,000, 60, 70,000 I have to invest. So is it requirement for me? No, sir, that much I cannot invest. What I have done, I increase my RAM capacity. So because the supporting RAM is 16 GB. So I increase my RAM capacity. 4 GB RAM. By default, I add another 8 GB. So it becomes 12 GB. So each is this one. Generally, I will maintain this memory. It's a 2 GB, 2 GB. 2 GB is enough. Not required 4 GB. 2 GB for one virtual machine. Another 2 GB for another virtual machine. That is generally. Okay. So 2 plus 2, 4 GB required for this to run virtual machines. So my task is completed. After completion of server and client classes, Linux class will be started. For Linux, again I have to purchase new machine. No. What I have done? So I shut down anyway. I shut down the server and client. I create a new virtual machine. I install a operating system inside, and then I install required components in the Linux. I showed the practicals to the students. So here in this one, I'm using my physical laptop is only one, but everything I have done in the virtual environment only. Virtual environment only. So that is the main point of this virtualization. What is the virtualization, guys? You cannot able to run, you can't able to buy everything physically locations. What we are doing, we take one single physical machine and we'll create a multiple virtual machines. Depends upon your resources. Okay, we can create and run the virtual machines in your single physical machines. That can be achieved by server virtualization like a type 1 virtualization, or you can use type 2 virtualization also. But in a type 1 virtualization is a server virtualization. It is not suitable for a client users, normal users like us. So what we are using an application installed in your traditional operating system. Using that application, we'll create a virtual machines. Inside a virtual machine, we install OS, we install applications, and we start using. You know what are the different applications are there? VMware Workstation, which is I showed just now. This is the VMware Workstation. Okay. Another one is VMware Oracle. From Oracle, it is a virtual box. Using a virtual box also we can able to create it, guys. Oracle VirtualBox is a free edition. It is an open source and it is a free edition. So you no need to pay for Oracle VirtualBox. So this is an application. You can create any virtual machine and install operating system in it. We can install Linux, we can install Windows, you can install any relevant one. I'm using very less about Oracle VM virtual boxes generally, but it is also very good one. So maybe in the future I am thinking I want to install Linux, and inside a Linux, I have to install again the DevOps kind of related one by one tool. I have to practice again because a lot of gap is created. No? So this is a DevOps machine. Some are on Windows, some are in a Linux. This is DevOps on Linux. This is DevOps on Linux only. So I have to use some Linux machines I installed and configured for a DevOps purpose, but sadly it is no audio in it. Okay, so but still it is running very good in a views way, like a 28 views, 50 views, 60 views kind of stuff only. Very good means if it is crosses more than 10 views, that is very good only for me. Okay, the point is, guys, here it is. We can use different platforms we are getting. So here it is, VMware Workstation. VMware Player is a free. Guys, VMware Player is, this is a free. This is paid version. VMware Workstation is a paid version. Oracle VirtualBox is also free, open source. Microsoft Virtual PC is not available now. It is up to Windows 7 support. After 7, no support. After 7, no support at all. Okay, so actually this entire diagram I created in a paintbrush, and then I've written here. Okay. Guys, there is a certain operating systems also giving a platforms, not as an application. So these applications we have to install. This is comes with as a feature along with your operating system. For example, from Windows 2008 64-bit server onwards, Hyper-V is there. From Windows 8 64 Pro and Enterprise, Pro or Enterprise, not in a home, Pro or Enterprise, you're getting Hyper-V as a feature. In a Linux, and of course Mac also there. I have written Linux only, but Mac is also there. Mac, if you are using a Mac, compulsory verify this feature. That is called a KVM and QEMU. KVM and QEMU. What is this KVM and QEMU? It is a platform, so we can able to run virtual machines in it, along with your traditional operating system. Okay, so you no need to install any application here. It's a feature inside your operating system we can install directly. Virtualization. So this type of virtualization is called as server virtualization, type 1 virtualization, bare metal virtualization. We use hypervisor, no other operating system. We create a virtual machines here. In this one, we have an operating system, and we have a on top of operating system, we install an application like a VMware Workstation or a player or Oracle VirtualBox. Using this application, we create a virtual machine and we install operating system. We run a apps in it. Okay, this is second one. The type 2 virtualization is an example for a desktop virtualization. Desktop virtualization. Okay, so here it is, how to access the virtual machines in server virtualization related environment. Okay, so these are about network virtualization kind of stuff, Hyper-V, hypervisor, so many are there. Yeah, this is one more point, guys. You want a virtualization feature in your physical machine, you have to go to BIOS, setup, find out where is virtualization technology, enable it. First of all, check in your task manager, go to your task manager. If you are using Windows 10 or Windows 11, go to performance, click on CPU. In this bottom, we can find virtualization enabled, L1 cache, L2 cache, L3 cache, like this, right? You can see there virtualization is enabled, means I enabled this feature in the BIOS already. That's why it is showing enabled. If it is showing disabled, you have to go to BIOS, virtualization technology enable it. So then we can able to run hypervisors and create a virtual machines, mainly 64-bit virtual machines you can able to run. Yeah, this is a basic example, traditional and virtual architecture example. Traditional architecture, so you have a computer, you have an operating system, you are running an application. In a virtual architecture, you have a server, and on top of server, virtualization layer like a hypervisor, and we can create a virtual machines. In each virtual machine, different type of operating systems and an applications in it. So this is another difference. I think so. This is about Hyper-V, other things, hybrid cloud, virtual switches. So these are all I screenshotted and take it. This is another beautiful one is a Windows Admin Center. Sadly, I don't have any batches for a virtualization specific batches, like technology based, not theoretical based. Okay. So type 1 virtualization, type 2 virtualization, also you can able to understand. Guys, these are all type of virtualization. Again, once again, any system, so when you have got a computer or a server thing, basic hardware is required. One computer, one physical hardware is there, right? Of course, what is the use of computer? It can be a server, it provides services, or it is used for a desktop, application running, web browsing kind of stuff. Okay. So now it is there's a certain challenges we are facing is what are there? Sometimes you got a new project, or maybe you need a more infrastructure for your organizations. But if you keep purchasing it, occupy more space, power consumption, and as well as the cost is increasing. So better utilize your existing resources by virtualizing it. You can virtualize your hardware like a server virtualization, desktop virtualization, applications. You can virtualize means it's a what is the virtualization? It is a software based or a virtual representation of application, server, storage, network. Okay, to reduce the IT expenses while boosting efficiency. We can best utilize your resources through virtualization possible. So there is a different type of virtualization. These are the first five virtualizations are very important virtualizations as compared to out of 7. There's a lot of virtualization thing are guys. For first 5 is very important. So server virtualization, desktop virtualization, network and application and storage virtualization. So small point I want to add here. I'm not adding everything here. Okay. So small point is OS running in physical machine called host OS. OS running in virtual machine guest OS. Okay, when you see guest OS word, so OS is running in a virtual machine. I already showed some OS, right? Like Windows 10. Yesterday I showed Windows 10, that is a guest OS. In my physically, I have a Windows 10, that is my host OS. In a virtual machine, I have a OS, that is a guest OS. So guest OS, different guest OS I have. One is like a VMware, Windows servers 2016, 2019, 2012, 2003 server is also there. 2008 are not there. So 2003, 2012, 2016, 2019. Mostly 2019 is I give a demo, right? So 2019. Windows 10, Windows 7, Windows XP. Windows 8 I removed, Windows Vista I removed. So I'm not using those things. So multiple machines, not a single machine. So there is a 4-5 machines for Windows 10, at least 3-4 machines for Windows 2019, 1 or 2 machines for 2012, 1 or 2 machines for Windows XP, 1 machine for 2003. And Red Hat means Linux machines, multiple 4, 5, 6 Linux machines I have. Any Linux as a Red Hat Linux or CentOS Linux virtual machines also there. So those are all. What is the operating system in that virtual machine is guest OS, but only one host OS, that is my Windows 10 Home Edition in my physical machine. So physical machine OS is host OS, guest OS. Okay, this is the basic part of virtualization, guys. Important. Understand why server virtualization, to create and manage the virtual machines. What is server virtualization purpose? We can create and manage, run virtual machines in the physical server. What is the remote desktop part, or we can say application virtualization? See, here it is. So a server is providing, like thin app is a one more VMware thin app. V Horizon I said no, so it's a earlier name. It is a thin app. Xen app, thin app. These are things are there. So which virtualize your application, and people require to access the virtualization directly, they can access from the server. Application virtualization, of course, desktop virtualization, network virtualization kind of concept is there. There's so many other concepts are there, so many examples. I'm not going with that one. Already I have taken a lot of time, so I think it is I have taken more than 1.5 hours. Okay, so next part we'll discuss about what is cloud, different services of cloud, benefits of cloud, why we require a cloud. Okay, so that is the point. So then we'll see. I don't know how many are left. Very good.